so it is Blank actually and not Peanut. And that actually changes things up quite a bit. That does change things up. Blank probably going to be much more focused to just escorting Faker, as he commonly did in the past. And he does have a tendency to actually favor the top half of the map, so that's going to actually play into aiding gameplay.
We'll see what he can do, jumping into game number 2 of SKT versus Kongdoo Monster. Kongdoo trying to fight back in the fan war. The louder cheers coming out as they want to tell their team to do a bit better against the Titans of SKT.
And so now both teams just fanning out yet again. This has been the most common opening in LCK Spring 2017. No one wanting to get too aggressive, although Huni going to benefit a lot more from this than Roach will because of the Bandit Mastery. Actually picks up that 10 gold.
Pretty cool. And
some poke happening in bottom lane. Nothing too big though, not like we're going to see a forced recall occur.
Cougar really wants to try to make that passive work for him, perhaps. And just dancing around, nothing too big. And looks like Punch looking to start at his red. Whereas Blank looking to start at his blue, going to get help from the top lanes.
So now if we're looking at the team compositions here, Kongdoo Monsters have a bit slower of a wake up in the mid game in terms of their itemization, but if they can reach it to the very later stages of the game, it will help a lot against the Kha'Zix, the Ashe, the Malzahar, and the Katarina. But the problem is that Gangplank, especially in Korea, is actually considered by many to be the hardest scaling champion in the game. And so SK Telecom does have that out, no matter how bad the situation could get.
Yeah, it begins to do insane amounts of damage later on, and definitely kind of a pocket trump card. Uh-oh, Cougar may have overstepped his boundaries here. He is so close to dying, but it looks like SKT not going to commit here.
Whoa.
And look at that, Faker winning a trade here against Edge in the mid lane. Looks like the exhaust was burned as well as the ignite.
Very slippery matchup. Faker did not elect to try to zone Edge out of more CS. Oh, they have to be really careful here. Excellent discipline, though, by Soul and Cougar. Noticing that the Voidlings won't catch up, so no heal used.
Oh, look at this. I don't think Blank knows that Punch is in the brush here. And Punch is thinking about going for it, but he shows himself. And now kind of just has to awkwardly back off. Not much going to happen there in the mid lane.
Not much going to happen indeed. Both junglers went for a 3-camp clear, but Blank is the one to get the Scuttle Crab, and that's that sort of mid-assistance that I was talking about earlier on. Now he's going to make his way over back to the left-hand side of the map, able to read the CS count of Punch, know what camps he has and hasn't cleared. So now there's a very real possibility that Punch might try to make something happen in top, and that's why we see Blank moving onto the left-hand side, and he's just keeping tabs on Punch.
And even trying to go on into him there. Doing a bunch of damage, forcing him back. You see Blank still at full health. Going to use a Scrying Orb, going to see... Scrying Plant, rather. Just going to take out this ward with that. Back off.
And already, the lanes for SK Telecom are going very well. Up in top lane, Huni at a very big CS advantage. And then, to make matters worse, he has the Bandit Mastery on Gangplank. So, no idea what that could be at. Faker.
He wants it. He's got to be careful, though. The poison coming in. One last auto attack, just barely not enough. And Faker gets away. Calculated.
Calculated, indeed. Oh, man. Faker barely gets away. Edge cannot feel good about that.
Well, here's Wolf coming from the side. Doing a bit of damage. Call from the Void going to help out in that. And Guger continuing to take a beating, but still holding his own down there in bot. And here comes Punch.
And Punch is in bottom lane, waiting to make something happen. I feel like Guger is making this obvious, though.
Trying to beat it. Bang takes a step forward, blocked by the Void Link. Not this time, Punch.
Excellent timing there by Wolf on that Malzahar. Blank now down in bottom. Gonna just go and farm his golems. And what this will line up to do is he relieves pressure from bottom lane. They know that Sol and Guger are gonna recall, and now he can make his way back over to the left-hand side of the map. So just taking a quick look again here at this trade between Faker and Edge. And you can see that Faker probably didn't anticipate how that trade was gonna go to that degree and almost ended up paying for it. And had he died right there, mid lane would just shift completely.
Oh, yeah. You can see that even though he did not go down, he still had to back off. And Cassiopeia is up 10 CS. And nice read from Faker. I don't think they had much vision around that area. But saying that, okay, I need to back off and play it very carefully from here on out. They could be trying to really snowball the lane for Edge.
Well, the thing in mid lane is Faker realized that he had, well, there was more spellcaster minions for Edge's side of the minion wave, so he knows that the wave's coming into him. So he's saying, okay, I'll lose 1 or 2 and just play safe, because if I try to get all of the CS, I'll end up taking too much of a beating in terms of HP.
Really excited to see how that Lulu's going to play out a little bit later on in the game. Right now in the lane, it seems like she's doing okay against that Malzahar. Really even in terms of the CS for both AD carries, 47 to 48. And they're just trading back and forth. No kills have come down. I wonder, you know, they're probably going to try to focus down that Lulu instead of the Jhin, because, you know, Lulu could try to get up in there, use Wild Growth to interrupt the Nether Grasp. It's going to be interesting to see once those fights begin after level 6.
Punch now with his red buff, gonna take golems. Unsure if that's gonna level him up. If it does, then he might look to make his way up to top lane. Seems that the lane is shoving into Roach. 2 spellcaster minions versus 1, and then the 2 for Huni will end up living, so this is guaranteed to push. And Huni probably just wants to shove this wave and then get back. Blank is too far away for any sort of a counter or match game.
You saw a question mark ping go directly onto where Punch was. They don't have any wards up there, but they know that he's there somehow, some way. Just based on the pathing that you've been talking about. And here he comes now. There is a control ward. But I think Huni's just out of range out of that. Oh, he's going to be flashed on top of it. Here comes Punch. The ultimate coming in. And Huni is trying to turn on here. He's going to be kicked away. And Roach almost going down to that. And Huni, it looks like he's going to get away.
Yeah, and Punch can't move on because they don't have any intel on where Blank was. And so now Blank and Faker down here in bottom. Sol and Guger making a run for it. Edge trying to get there. Blank just going to end up taking the Gromp. And in a very weird turn of events, SK Telecom actually gets really far ahead off that attempted gank in top lane.
Really good read from the bot lane of Kongdoo too, to just back off, saying, okay, we don't know where they are. They could be coming in. Let's take a look at this replay.
So Roach gives away that Punch is here because he neglects the cannon minion and the remaining minions of the wave. Huni realizes that, okay, if I try to run, they're going to catch me and I can't do anything about it. So he makes a final stand there with the Gangplank ultimate and the barrels, and he puts out so much damage that they can't keep the gank going. Otherwise, Roach would go down and it would just be a 1-for-1 trade. And so in that scenario, because Punch was tied up in top lane, he couldn't then follow on to Huni because they didn't have any intel about the enemy jungle.
Blank ulting in, not going to be able to get much as Lee Sin just safeguards away. And it's just going to back off here, not really going to be able to find much. They really wanted to put on some pressure. The Mountain Drake is up here. You can see a nice push going on so far for the SKT bot lane too. Faker, he wants to go for the fight here onto Edge. He dodges the ultimate, but the exhaust coming in, and the Sonic Wave is going to be landed. First blood goes over to Cassiopeia. Oh man, Blank going to miss that too. He's trying to turn around. Perhaps he wants to jump in, miss Sonic Wave this time around, or else perhaps Kongdoo could have turned that into a 2-for-0, but nice play there.
Really nice play by Kongdoo Monsters, but the mechanics from Faker were... it was almost not human.
Well, People have called him a robot in the past.
So they will pick up a kill there, and the CS lead in mid continues to get bigger, but let's take a quick look at it again. You can see Edge trying to come in here, and then Faker dodges the ult so well. He tries to make it over to Blank. Blank tries to salvage the kill onto Edge, unable to. Edge flashed away right there at the last second.
So, really nice mechanics, but not able to... Oh, I'll hold that thought. Huni's going in onto Roach. The ultimate comes down. Fire away, but Roach will get away. Tanky enough, but he might be pushed out of lane here as Huni continues to push this one in.
And the real problem that Kongdoo Monsters are having is up in this top lane, this Gangplank is not being hurt at all. So he's getting a free ride into the mid game where that Bandit and all the parley gold, it's just adding up more and more and more. And the gold lead is in SK Telecom's favor, despite Kongdoo Monsters getting the first blood goals and the CS deficit in mid.
Faker wants to put on a show, dodging poison after poison. Edge really needs to be careful about that. You could see just how much Punch is staying around mid lane because he knows that Faker is going to go very aggressive. He knows that this is going to come down. But then again, it looks like SKT wants to make this happen. Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits Lee Sin in the brush. Edge gets jumped on. There's the Nether Grass. And down goes Punch as well. A 2-for-0. SKT turning it around.
Yeah, that was a 2-for-0. And the Enchanted Crystal Arrow hitting Punch was basically a novelty shot. I think it was intended for Edge.
Yeah.
I don't believe the ward was in the brush yet. So they pick up 2 kills, takes all the pressure off of mid lane. Faker's now going to catch up in the CS score. And meanwhile, in bottom lane, Bang, I think he's going to get first blood turret here. Well, not yet.
So close. Maybe 3 more hits would have done it. Meanwhile, Faker and Blank, they're trying to compete with Bang for that first blood turret. And I think they are going to win this time around. So there you go. Mid turret going to go down.
They get mid turret, and that opens up the map considerably, which is very good for Katarina. Now it looks like they're moving up to Punch's red buff. There's no vision here for Punch.
And it looks like he has seen him now, trying to get in on there onto that red buff. Have to be so careful. And this is eventually going to go over to Huni. Looks like going to make that top lane even more one-sided than it already is.
Really careful here, Bang and Wolf, but Guger taking a lot of damage.
Oh, forced to wild growth to save his own life, and will be forced to back off after that. So I'm sure they can push this in if they know where Punch is at and probably get another turret. Let's see this set up, man.
Yep, so they didn't know that Punch was in the brush, I don't think. I feel like that was intended for Edge, but you know, it's a 2-for-1, and so they end up getting Edge, and that was just a beautiful setup by SK Telecom. And Kongdoo Monsters didn't see it coming.
Here's this turret going to go down. Bang will clean that up. And SKT continue winning their games by landslides. It's now 4,500 gold going over to SKT. Huni is unbelievably farmed right now. Faker, he hasn't had the super dominant mid lane so far, but they were able to turn it around in that last fight. Really get him on par with Cass right now. Bang is leading by 20 CS in the bot lane too. And SKT just in total control of this map right now.
Oh!
Gonna go in onto Soul. Bang wants that solo kill. The heal gonna come in. Wolf is gonna go by himself. Nether Grass onto Lulu. And here comes Blang and Faker able to try to clean this up. And down goes Cassiopeia. Faker's not done. Gonna jump in onto Lulu. Down goes another. Soul, will he be able to get that final kill? Yes, he will. Double kill over to Faker. And so that is 4 members of Kongdoo going down at 14 minutes into the game. As SKT say, get out of my game.
Yep, SK Telecom telling them to get out indeed. And Faker is so good on this Katarina pick. And he's just moving around so elegantly. And now they're going to get the Mountain Drake. They shove the wave into Tier 2 bottom. So just take a look at this again. Wolf comes in, hits Guger with the Malefic Visions and the Call of the Void. Nethergrass comes down, and even though Punch and Edge were here, it didn't matter. Exhaust went down way too late onto Faker, and then Bang able to get the final kill onto Edge. Faker said, oh, give me a second, I didn't pick up my knife yet.
Yeah, give me the knife, I'll get the kill too. And there he goes, and Wolf is coming up to top. really fast. Does not have Nethergrass, but is going to push Roach out of the lane. Again, they're just going to switch it up here. They're going to send Huni down to bot lane.
Yep. They know that sending Huni down to bottom now is going to be the safest lane to put him. There's no neutral objective. There's no real incentive for Kongdoo Monster to devote resources to that side of the map. And he's going to be able to just safely farm out and continuously get gold. Meanwhile, Bang and Wolf are going to begin to immediately start attacking the last remaining outer turret for Kongdoo Monsters.
That should go down very quickly. You can see how much Huni has already pushed in that wave. And now it seems like Kongdoo is trying to go for Huni, but Huni knows about this. He's like, okay, they're probably going to come down here. It's not safe for me to hang around this turret. They're going to have to give away that kill and take the turret.
Right, and this is what I was talking about, where yes, you just brought 4 members down to bottom and you willingly handshake on a trade that's now going to cost you your top tier 2 turret and a lot of pressure on your middle tier 2 turret. And it's just not an investment that you should have wanted to have made, but you did. And so now SK Telecom, no strangers to punishment, are punishing Kongdoo Monsters for these macro decisions.
Yeah, SKT continues to get farther ahead. Now 6,000 gold ahead. That middle turret didn't go down, but it's at about 1/3 health now. And Faker just even hanging around for a couple more cheeky hits on the tower, even in the face of Cass. Now SKT is going to make that rotation, just barely missing Roach there.
Barely missed indeed. Gangplank ultimate. Oh, he dodged again!
Unbelievable. He's got to get over the wall here, though, as Edge is going to get the poison and the movement speed boost, but here comes Blank from the top. I think Edge is just dead either way, and it's going to go over to Faker. Another kill over to this Katarina.
And meanwhile now Bang waiting in mid lane. It's just Guga to defend. Wolf might just come from behind. He does have those mobility boots and close the gaps really quickly to just get that Nethergrass ball.
Yeah, he's unbelievably fast at this point, and you can see that Kongdoo, they cannot defend that turret. They just have to back off. And Huni continuously pushing bot. Does have his teleport up for whenever they do need him.
Now they're going to pick up this Rift Herald. About 17.5-minute Rift Herald. Probably going to last for the entire game if it does go that length. And it looks like they're going to put it on to Blank. And this is something SK Telecom's done now twice. Oh, is Faker going to get it? He didn't pick it up, but taking a look at this replay, you can see that Faker going for the kill onto Edge with the ultimate from Huni. Juking the spells right at the end. It didn't matter anyway. Blank was just over the horizon, and Faker gets up and gets the kill anyway.
Yeah. Trying to make something work, even in dire situations. But Faker, he wants more blood. He's got to get that KDA up. And here he comes, jumping on in. Soul losing half his health. Here comes the Wild Growth, and they're going to try to turn it on to Faker. Now 3 members of Kongdoo Monster trying to make that work, and uh-oh, that may have been a mistake. Blank coming on in. Here's Faker. The TP coming in from Huni. They don't even need him at this point. Oh, nice play from Punch, though. Whoa. He's going to get out of there somehow, some way.
Punch does manage to survive.
That was pretty cool. The kick into the Sonic Wave, into the safeguard onto the minion, and then the flash.
Oh, that damage from Huni. Roach not able to do anything. Kongdoo Monsters have to concede this turret. No Baron yet, or you could bet that SK Telecom would probably get it right now.
Yeah, this is just a slaughter, man. We're 18 minutes into the game. They're 9,000 gold ahead. Every member of SKT is super far ahead of their counterpart on the side of Kongdoo Monster.
Just cleaning up the lanes right now. Dragon coming up in 2 minutes, Baron in 1. Not quite sure if we'll make it to the Dragon.
Well, Punch, he does get grasped here. Is going to try to safeguard away. Does get the slow from the volley, and there you go. Faker picks up another kill, but he wants more. Cougar going to eat some damage, and Faker not able to get another kill just yet.
Faker now picking up the wave in top. Meanwhile, I mean, you can just look at Kongdoo Monsters. They're scrambling to try to defend because it almost feels like SK Telecom is everywhere. And even if they wanted to somehow take a team fight, you can't really do anything to Huni He went for that tanky variation. Roach coming in for a flank. We'll see what happens.
Well, it seems like SKT is going to engage burst. Edge is going to be bursted down. Does get the ultimate. Look at that. Soul has to run away from Wolf right now. Roach trying to do something here, but just going to save Soul, it seems, and that's about it. Both Cougar and Edge go down in that trade. And Faker looks like he wants to jump in again. Nice kick to get him away. Blank trying to get the follow-up, but not quite enough.
They get mid inhibitor, and now they're making their way up to top. They do have a minion wave there, not too much, but might be enough to get the turret with the Voidlings.
This looks like one of those solo queue games where you're just like, okay, we're so far ahead, let's just end this. Like, let's just go on to the next game, you know? We want to go home early, says SKT, so might as well just rotate up, get another turret. We're this far ahead.
SK Telecom playing dynamic queue yet again, not sure what edition this is.
And Soul's gonna open on up with that curtain call. And just delay some backs, I suppose, but Punch is on the chase. I honestly don't think that even with a perfect engage, Kongdoo Monster can fight this one right here.
No, they might go for a Hail Mary Baron, and it seems like SKT sniffing that out. They do recall right in front of it, and that's gonna prevent Kongdoo Monsters from going for that. Even if they tried to wait and delay, and let's assume this is a blasting plant there and they all try to blast over at once, there's the Hawk Shot from Ashe coming out of Bang that would follow that up.
13,000 gold ahead is SKT. Another Mountain Drake to make the Baron pick off, perhaps even that much easier.
So we can just take a look at this replay, and this is just a classic case of an 80 carry being too out of position, pushed up a little too far. Faker capitalizing on that, wanted the kill. Soul didn't realize the curtain call would be his own. And meanwhile, Blank here, and what Punch's escape was really nice.
That was the most impressive part of this entire fight, actually. Gotta hand it to Punch. He knows how to play that champion, and, well, unless Kongdoo can pull off a miracle here, Faker, hold that thought, he's gonna try to turn around. Oh, Sonya's gonna make it even harder to take him out, but he will eventually go down, but trade his life for another turret, perhaps even two. But on the back of this, if Kongdoo Monster do lose, as it does look like that is the case, Lee Sin is going to be 0-10 so far in LCK Spring.
Yeah, indeed it is. And, oh, hold on, it looks like Roach and Punch might want to go in on this.
Wolf getting really low, could try to jump on in there. They do get Wolf, but look at Bang in the back, really just pushing out a ton of damage, but the ult coming out of Cassiopeia, and in fact is going to take out Bang. Huni's still alive, somehow, some way. Bang going to slow them all, and they cannot follow up, but at least a winning team fight for Kongdoo. Yeah,
winning team fight indeed. Faker was not present, but it still came at the cost of almost losing 2 turrets. But a victory nonetheless. Now with 2 Mountain Drakes, SK Telecom certainly going to have their eyes set on the Baron. We'll take another quick look at that replay, and you can see that Roach and Punch want to go in here. Huni casts his ultimate to try to dissuade Kongdoo Monsters, but they're not having it. And the amount of damage coming out is just way too much. Blank able to get a kill onto Punch right there at the very end, but still a victory nonetheless for Kongdoo Monsters.
Trying to set something up onto Faker. Is Cougar here, will be sniffed out. And is SKT gonna let Kongdoo Monster take that red buff? Nope, doesn't look like that. The entire map is SKT's. The arrow, that last second flash out of Cougar is going to be dodged.
Now all the SKTs, oh, hold on, Blank.
Blank taking a ton of damage, forced to flash away. At least getting one of the summoners off of him, I suppose.
All that they're doing right now is they're pushing through Kongdoo Monster's red side jungle. They're going to clear out vision, make sure that they escort them back to their base, let Huni split push in bottom lane, and it just sets up for a perfect Baron.
It's what they're trying to make happen here. Look at all the vision in this jungle that is not here for Kongdoo Monster, and all the vision that SKT has.
All the vision indeed. Punch and Cougar trying to fight back in the vision war, but they're not finding any success, and they're on a clock because meanwhile in bottom lane, it's only a matter of time until Huni gets that turret.
Yeah, he can probably swipe it at a couple of times with how farmed he is and the double Mountain Drake. Probably get that turret. Yep, there it is. Gets the turret, and they are going to go for the Baron. There's nothing that Kongdoo can do. They can't even get close to the Baron right now. There you have it. Baron going over to SKT. Bot turret already down. Mid inhibitor is down. Both other inhibitors are still wide open. Oh, there's the arrow onto Edge in the back, and there comes the cannon. Huni trying to get onto Edge. Nice ultimate to try to save Edge here. But now Roach is going to be jumped on. He's all alone. Curtain call. Nethergraph to get that kill onto Roach, and there he does. Going to block this one for Huni and not let him die to the curtain call. So now they can try to end it here or go for all the inhibitors. The world is SKT's oyster as they push in for another extremely dominant 2-0 victory over another team here in Kongdoo Monster.
I don't think Kongdoo Monster is going to be able to defend against this. SK Telecom just being a little bit safe here, getting that final inhibitor. Huni does have teleport, so it's not like he's leaving. He'll be back in a second, probably going to wait for the minion to begin tanking turret aggro, and then he'll teleport to that one.
Yep, there you go. And that will be the second Nexus turret going down. This is the last stand for Kongdoo Monster, if they do even make a stop. What? Where'd he go? I didn't see him. Punch, he's going to make another great escape. Doesn't matter. SKT is Faker going to get some more kills for his KDA. It looks like, actually, Soul's going to add to his, as down goes the Nexus, and SKT takes another 2-0 victory.
Yeah, and the way that they took this game was way better than game number 1. This was from start to finish, absolute annihilation. There's no other way to put it. They were constantly outpacing their opponents. The only hope that Kongdoo Monsters had was in mid, where Edge had a slight CS advantage, but it didn't matter because the amount of pressure that Bang and Wolf were putting on in bottom lane, and the fact that Huni was just demolishing Roach up in top.
Yeah, and you can see the smiles, or the smirks rather, on some of the faces of the Kongdoo members. It's kind of disbelief. They're like, okay, we just got smashed. It's almost like a bit of embarrassment, you know? They're just like, oh god, that felt awful. And how are you going to feel good going up against this team and getting wrecked in that manner? Well, SKT looking to be one of the stronger teams here. Can't wait until they face off against KT, another one of the strongest teams with the superstar lineup. I believe that does happen in March. Yep. I know Papa Smithy has mentioned it a bunch of times. I think it's March 2nd. So definitely mark that on your calendars if I am correct on that date, because that is going to be a sick matchup.
That is going to be a super sick matchup. Two telecoms colliding, and I feel like that is probably the most anticipated match of LCK Spring so far, because a lot of people are going to be curious if the new KT roster can go up against SK Telecom and try to dethrone them, because that's what the super team is intended to do. It's meant to overthrow SK Telecom's hold over South Korea.
It could happen, you know. I think it's going to be very close. I think it should go to 3 games when they do hit each other. But either way, SKT is looking incredibly strong. I feel like we're not going to know until they actually play against each other, because right now both of these two teams are just crushing whoever they come into contact with, and it doesn't seem like any other team in the entire league really is up on their level right now. So, as I said, we just got to wait until they go head-to-head.
Even when we've watched KT play, their play isn't as dominating and as decisive as SK Telecom. So there is a there's a visual discrepancy between how they beat their opponents. And I mean, the question is going to be what happens when all the superstars collide. And that's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, so guys, we are going to go straight into the analyst desk and the interview with the MVPs of SK Telecom. So let's jump to that right now.